we were all trying to grow my social media. And my manager said, you know what? You have to find your own brand. You have to find your own style. And I'm like,
today I have a guest, Koe Yeet. She is a film and television actress. She's also a barrister at law and a TEDx speaker, among many things. She's very down to earth on social media, which is where I met her. She works with a lot of brands, kind of on her social media. And welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi. Wow, that is such a long introduction. Actually, every single time people introduce me, like, oh, she is this and that, I'm like, actually, I don't think it's a big deal. Everything was just, it's an accident. I am a barrister at law because of an accident. It all started off, long story short, I wanted to be a dentist when I was young because, when you're young, people would ask you like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Asian parents, they would do that. And if you say you want to be a doctor, they would bring you, I don't know, ask you to work in their friend's clinic or bring you for tuition to make sure you do well in math and science. I wanted to be a dentist. Why? Because I had braces on. And I remember my dad telling me how expensive going to the dentist was. He's like, you better grow up and be a dentist so that you can earn all the money back. Literally, that was what he said. And I was like, okay. So I always wanted
no pressure.
I know, right? No pressure. You should be a dentist. So, okay. So I never thought of being anything else. But acting was because I didn't dare to go on stage. But then my mom said that as a kid, you have to know how to speak in front of the public. So I was asked to go on stage to do some performance, dancing. And so I was scouted to be an actress. And then that just kept on going. And I didn't do well for my science. I didn't do well for my science subjects. And then my dad was like, oh no, that's out. That's 5 more. There's doctor, accountant, engineer, architect, and lawyer. Choose one. I was like, law, maybe? And I just kept on going.
Oh, so you've always wanted to be a lawyer ever since you were young?
I never wanted to be a lawyer. I always wanted to be a mother. I just wanted to be I never had this big dreams about just, I want to be this or I want to be that. I'm just a sore loser. I don't like losing. If I want to do something, I try to do my best because my mom said, if you want to do something, do your best. If not, don't waste time.
Are you competitive?
I don't think I'm that competitive, as in if you beat me, go ahead, you beat me. But I'm a sore loser, as in if I lose because I know I didn't work hard enough, then I'll be very upset about it.
You're competitive with yourself.
Yeah, maybe.
So let's talk about your kind of acting career. You started when you were like 5?
Yes, I started when I was 5. Right? Yep, I started when I was 5. I was scouted to do a TV ad because they needed a girl with bangs, with dimples, Chinese Asian girl who know how to smile and who knows how to memorize lines. Because in Malaysia, we speak 3 languages. We speak Mandarin, English, and Malay. And I could speak all 3 because I was from a Mandarin school and my parents speak English at home. So we all know how to speak 3 languages, and I need to know how to describe that cookie in 3 languages. So I got the role.
So it was for like a commercial.
It was a commercial, and then it moved on to TV, dramas, and then movies.
So you weren't trying to be an actress. It's kind of just...
No, I wasn't. back in school, I actually didn't tell many of my friends that I was an actress unless they were my close friends. Because back at like when I was young, unless you sit in front of TV and you actually, because we didn't have social media then, you have to actually sit and watch, then you would know that person's an actress. If you don't sit in front of the TV as much, you just don't know I do commercials. And I don't really tell a lot of people. Some of the teachers would know, because I don't think teachers really, they supported me being an actress, because they thought that if you're an actress, if you do things that is related to creativity, you're not studious. You're not supposed to be in the first class. I don't know if it's an Asian thing or
I think so.
or it's a
Is
Chinese
it still like
thing.
that now?
No, it's a lot different now. Now it's more like you have to try. You at least you have to do sports. If you don't do sports, they'll speak to your parents and make sure you go for different activities. But it wasn't like that before. When I was 7 or 8, I remember my teacher, I didn't do very well at math at that particular exam. And my teacher said, you know what? If you don't really want to study, just don't study. Just go and act. Why are you in class anyway? You're just wasting all our times. And I remember crying, and I came back and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm going to study so hard and I'm going to prove her wrong. I'm like a song. I don't know. Ego. I have a big ego. Yeah. I was like,
it's like a pride.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm like that too.
I don't know. Really? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Maybe because I'm short, like I need to prove to people that I'm
It's
here,
like,
look at me, maybe.
You know the small dog syndrome? Like small dogs always bark at the big dogs.
Yeah, I think it's that.
But yeah, I'm like that naturally too. And I think it has something to do with why I learned everything I learned. But at the same time, at some point in my life, I realized that was actually hurting me, because I didn't want to attach my ambition to like almost like a revenge, right? Like I'll show you, like that type of thing, and it never made me happy at the end. So when I said I'll show you, and then I go achieve something, it wasn't like I feel so fulfilled, like wow, you know what I mean? But whenever I achieve something,
then where do you get your fulfillment from?
Now, now I get it from serving other people, helping others. I first kind of, I'll make it short because this episode is all about you. But
no, it's okay. I like listening to stories. Go ahead.
I remember giving like my leftover dinner to this homeless woman who was sleeping on a bench. This was like when I was 19. And I thought she was gonna she was sleeping. I just put it next to her head, and she woke up, and I thought she was gonna yell at me. She's like, "Why are you giving me leftover?" or something like that. But she was actually so grateful. She started eating it right in front of me, and I was like almost like in tears. And we had like a 20-minute conversation. I ended up giving her some money, and it just felt so good. And that's when I like truly understood the meaning of what people said. Like helping others is what makes you happy. And then that led on to like me helping my clients.
But I think it's because you help from the heart. Some people, they help for the sake of helping. I need to help because it may look good. And I think that is when you don't understand the joy of helping. You never understand it. If you do it, even at the back of your mind, you feel like you have to do it because you should, then that is different. Yeah.
Mike, I have a client who talks about it. He said he's met some rich like CEOs who gives away $1 million, and they do it for like tax reasons and for PR and things like that.
Yeah.
And they're like complaining about it, right? And whereas
of course you complain about it because you don't give it from the heart, because you don't feel like giving it. Yeah.
So let's go back to you.
It's not about the money. Yes. Okay. Come back to me. Okay. Okay. What
So,
else do you want to know?
the reason why I wanted to have you on is because most people that I talk to, they're like motivational speakers, course creators, they're personal brands. And this show is all about personal brands, which is kind of my area of expertise. And they're usually like that type. But when I look
But
at
I
it,
don't know anything about personal branding.
but I think
Mhm.
actresses are like the ultimate personal brand, in my opinion, because
Really?
actors don't have to, like celebrities, like actors, musicians, they don't actually brand themselves like how kind of the personal brands that I think of do. But it automatically becomes, because if you're an actor, you are the brand, right?
I think I don't try to define myself. Um, every single time people ask me like, "Oh, so are you an actress or are you a lawyer?" And then I'm like, I'm both. Then they'll say, "Choose one." Then I was like, I don't know. I can't choose one. I just call me my name. Then just don't 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 put anything beneath my name. Just
Labels.
Koe Yeet will do. Yeah, I don't like to be labeled. Like honestly, this personal brand thing came up a couple of months ago. I think we were trying to grow, me, my manager, we all sat down. We were all trying to grow my social media. And my manager said, you know what? You have to find your own brand. You have to find your own style. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that because this thing is just me. My Instagram, my social media is just me. I don't really like fashion, but I kind of like it too. I don't really like skincare, but I kind of understand a little bit. I don't like I'm not full on comedy, but I'm kind of goofy. I have my fun moments too. How why do you want me to be someone just because everyone has to be defined by something? And I think if you want to say actress, yes, I'm an actress, but I can't put it on social media and this social media posting I'm crying. That social media posting I'm laughing or teaching people how to act. Actress is it's a person, but I can't show it on social media. But nowadays you have to kind of show it to people that you are a
like
fashion designer.
for people to hire you, like as a like so that like people will cast you as an actress or like so for commercial reasons.
That too. So yeah, sorry.
But I
Kind of
actually love
derailed.
that so one of the things that I found very interesting about your Instagram, which is where I first met you, is when I look at other actresses, especially like the Asian actresses, like they have their whole, like, they have their magazine covers, they have their like, red carpet moments and all of those like actress kind of things, right? But then in your profile, you show a lot of yourself, like your personal life, even when you are talking about beauty products or something like that. It feels behind the scenes, right? So that's what
Because why? Well, because I feel like if I don't know if you want to spend time watching my ads, I would want to make your time worthwhile. I wouldn't want you to watch something where I'm just like, this is the best thing in the world, and whatever the client say this is, what's the point? If I don't, because if I watch contents like that from other people, I won't buy it just because you say it's good. But if you are relatable, I would trust you. I think it's about building the trust. And if I show you about, of course, it's social media. I don't air my dirty laundry and then show you everything that is going on at home. I'll show you my life and I'll tell you it's like this and it's like that. But the fact that I'm putting my life out on social media, I have to be very careful with my feelings. And of course, I'm going to get a tons of hate mails, hate messages saying, oh, you shouldn't treat your mom like that. You shouldn't touch your dog like so. But again, but this is my life. If you want to judge, up to you. And so there are actresses all over the world. You know how their lives are like, but you don't know what's like behind. And why do I need to put myself on a pedestal and say, you know what, because I'm an actress, I'm different from all of you. I'm the same. I'm like you guys. I just stand in front of the camera for a living. So I don't see the need to show off.
But that is a personal brand. So
I
the
do.
way,
I did, like, if I have a red carpet, I'm like, yeah, this is how the red carpet is like. And I'm going to be really honest with how long I spend to look like this. I don't look like this 24/7. I look like shit when I wake up, just like everyone else. But then we spend 3 hours just to make ourselves look good. I think it also comes from, oh my God, I've never talked about this before. Malaysia's media don't know about this, but I'm just telling you whatever, man. I had a history of eating disorder. And I think, and it was a long history of eating disorder. It's 8 years of eating disorder. It all started from me getting into the acting scene since I was young. And everyone said, because I'm not tall, and if I'm not tall, I can't be too fat. Because on screen, Asian, we have very flat features. We don't have the very chiseled jaw and everything. You have to look skinny. I was asked to lose weight. I was asked to work out every single day. And then I started eating a lot because I was stressed about school. And I also did a lot of sports back in high school. Because when we do sports, we have to eat. And I'm worried about eating. So I binge and I purge. And it was a long history of 8 years. I had to go see the doctors. I had my own psychiatrist. It was bad. And I was just going down a rabbit hole. And everyone around me, my friends, they were like, oh, you're so amazing. You went and see this actor. You saw that actor. Your dress was gorgeous. But no one knew I starved myself for 3 days just to fit into that dress. No one knew. And I thought, why do I? And now the fact that I grew up, I don't want young girls to go through what I went through. It was bad. I didn't feel beautiful. I don't feel valued. I don't feel like I'm worth it. So I don't want people to think I am who I am today just because I'm lucky. I'm not. There was a lot of hard work involved, and I'm not extra beautiful. I'm not special. I'm just like everyone else, but I just put a lot of hard work into it. Yeah. So
thank you so much for sharing that. I think I actually think this is how you, if you want, because I work with a lot of personal brands in the self-help space. That's how you kind of change the world, right? Like if you don't want other girls to feel that way, by sharing your story, you're actually empowering them. Because I'm sure there are a lot of girls out there or guys that are going through the same thing that you went through.
Of course.
So can I ask you how did you overcome? What was like the moment you overcame that, and what work did you do to kind of get out of that?
It was a 8-year journey, and it only stopped when I met a friend, and my friend sat me down for 21 days. So the routine is, I don't know whether this is interesting, but the routine was this. Every single day after I eat, I get so guilty about food, I'll go to the toilet and I purge. But then, so my friend found out, every single day after dinner, she would sit me down and she would start talking to me. We would talk about food or whatever, work, studies. And it was 21 days straight. And after that, I just didn't feel like purging anymore. I didn't feel, don't get me wrong, the thoughts of, oh gosh, I want to eat. I want to just eat 3 pizzas straight away. I just want to eat that whole tub of ice cream. That thought will never go away. Oh, I feel fat. Or, oh, I don't feel beautiful enough. It will never go away. It's going to always be there. But you have to stop that from, it's the actions. The thoughts will never go, but you have to really, really stop yourself from going for the food. And after 21 days, I built a habit. That there was something that clicked that could stop me from going more, like going for the food or going to the toilet. And with that 21-day habit thing, I tried it with everything else, with working out, with reading. I used to have a bad habit of picking up a book and reading halfway through and I stopped. And I made myself do it every single day for 21 days, just to read half an hour a day. And it worked. I'm not it wasn't something that I read online. It's something that I tried. I heard about this 21-day theory or a 30-day or 120-day theory somewhere. I don't know, but it's something that I did and it worked. It clicked for me.
Yeah, I think they say like you need to do something for 40 days straight or something for it to become a habit. But I think there's something more than that. Maybe your friend had a lot to do with it, because
definitely
a lot of addictive, because I consider that kind of also a sort of an addiction. I've read about it, and a lot of these type of behaviors comes from like something that's missing in your life, right? And as soon as that void is filled, it automatically, like people that have eating disorders or people that have, like are like addicted to drugs or something like that. It's not that thing that they're addicted to, but it's that there's this void.
It's the feeling. So I think I was very lonely at that time. I wasn't happy, but no one knew I wasn't happy. Everyone thought that, because my life was so great, I was acting in films, I was studying overseas, I must be very happy. And I needed a warm hug, I think. And at that time, food made me feel very homely, and someone was hugging me because I was so full and I was so warm after a hot soup and tons of pizza, for an example. And I think because my friend was there, there was someone who cared. I think that was the warmth you're talking about. Yeah, of course. I wouldn't have been able to do it alone for 21 days. Definitely not.
So can you tell me like why, so you were already kind of acting, and
yes,
when you went to law school, is that correct?
Yes.
So what made you want to do that? Like did you not want to act anymore?
So with law school, honestly, it was because I didn't feel like acting was something that I was going to be able to do for the rest of my life. We spoke about this before, about me being very realistic with myself. I would go in front of the mirror and I would ask myself, would I be able to do this and be the best at it in Malaysia? Sore loser. I would evaluate myself whether I'm pretty enough. Actress, you have to be pretty, you have to be tall, you have to really know how to act. But I'm not that pretty. I'm okay. I'm not tall. I don't have crazy connections. And to act, everyone can act. You can act. You just need to know the skills. That, for an example, if you want to cry, there's some techniques to cry. So it's not something that difficult. As long as you put hard work into it, you can do it. So, and I'm a girl. As an Asian girl in Malaysia, we have a lifespan for acting. If you reach your 30s and you start to have kids and you start to age, I'm not sure. In Hollywood, it's different. in Hollywood, there is Meryl Streep. You can act even though you're old. But in
Yeah, that's
Asia,
true.
it's
Yeah.
it's not a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are old, if you're an ajuma, that's it.
Yeah.
You're done. You're done. You won't get the
You won't get the
main
key roles,
roles.
like main roles, yeah.
Yes, you won't. You won't. And when you don't get the main roles, you
But
won't
do you
get
think
enough
that's gonna
ads.
change? Do you think that'll
I
change?
hope it would change, but it's gonna take a long time.
Mm.
It's not gonna be as fast. It's gonna take a long time. Yeah. This sexist thing in Asian countries is still a thing.
Actually, you're
Guys
right.
still
Yeah.
have the same. Yeah.
For males, I think there are older actors that
Yes, of course.
that still get
And
main parts.
male actors do get paid a lot more. That's a
Mhm.
long story. They still do get paid a lot more. Just, I don't know.
I think that's the
It's
same
how it
here.
is. Oh, really?
Yeah. But
In America as well?
yeah, I think so. I mean, probably not as serious as like in Asia,
Mm-hmm.
but like whenever I look up like how much money some actor made for a movie, like the actor's always higher than the actress.
Yeah, for sure.
So
And
that's the reason why you went to law school as like almost like a
I
backup.
needed
Yeah.
it was a backup plan. Initially, it was a backup plan. So I was just planning to do 3 years of law school and that's it. Come back, continue to act. Because my passion was acting. It was always acting. I love being on stage. I love playing different roles. But then after that, after finishing law school, I came back for a year. I took a break. I went to Taiwan. I did a film. And then I felt like it's halfway through. If I do everything halfway, I'm not going to succeed at both. So I took another 2 years break. I did the bar school and then I came back and I'm like, okay, if acting doesn't work out, at least I can work in the law firm. I can support myself. So I think it's not about, you can do many things, but it's not about doing everything and not doing it enough. How should I put it? You can try out if you want to be a lawyer, you want to be an actress, do it, go ahead. But instead of just learning halfway, try to finish it, try to finish the journey and persevere through. And not be called jack of all trades, master of none. I think it's a very sensitive thing. I don't like being called that too. And I think that is why I was like, you know what, since I'm studying, I'll just go all in. I did take a couple of years off. A lot of people asked me whether I was worried that when I came back, I wouldn't be able to find acting gigs anymore because I was gone for 4 years. And then I asked them, I was like, are you a fortune teller? My friend was like, no, you wouldn't know. See, when I came back, I had so many more acting gigs. Well, I'm lucky for sure. I'm blessed. I would say I'm blessed. But because they would assume, oh, you are an actor because you are a lawyer. When I got my bar school license and I came back, because I appeared in a lot of newspapers and magazines, I got my acting jobs back easily. Mm-hmm. But people would also respect you because they know that when you do something, you will do your best. So they would hire you for acting gigs or hire you for other things too. Don't assume that when you leave this to do other things, you'll never be able to come back to it. You can't predict. You never know. Yeah. If I came back and I lost all my acting gigs, it's okay. I have my law degree, and people in the law firms would know I used to be an actress and I acted very well. So if I acted very well, I must have pretty good PR skills. I must know how to win people's attentions. I would definitely do very well in conference or meetings too. So there are skills that you can transfer around.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask you. Like, is there anything that you learned in law school that transfer over to like acting that actually helped you?
Yes, 100%. When you learn something and you move on to learn something new, there's always skills that is transferable. I remember doing my conference exams. So we had cross-examination exams, conference exams where we have to meet fake clients, actor clients that come in, and we have our teachers who act like judges and they judge us based on our performance. As a barrister, because I was studying to be a barrister, as a barrister, you have to stand up straight, you have to exude this confidence, you have to speak with passion, you have to speak with conviction.
Mhm.
I didn't know how to be a lawyer. I don't know how to stand. I don't know nothing. I don't know which, you know how lawyers speak when they speak certain words, you have to pause and then you have to kind of like focus on certain words, for an example. And
It's
I
almost like
didn't know.
acting.
It was almost like acting. But as a student, I didn't know. I didn't know how to speak to my opponent. I didn't know how to speak to the witness, for an example. And I read my script. I memorized the whole thing. I memorized it like a script. And I was like, you know what? Actually, I could move my acting skills in. And you know how you go up to someone, you look at someone in the eyes, and you stop. And that is dramatized on TV, but in real life, it's all the same. And on TV, you would say, okay, I would stare at this person, so this person would be intimidated. And I did the same thing for law school as well. And my teacher said I was the best that day. I was this Asian girl who didn't know how to even express myself well. And she said I was the best because I had pauses and I know how to eye the person. I was like, oh, that's just pretending. I was freaky. I was so scared. I was freaking out. But because I know that when you act, it's like that. So if you bring it to real life, it's about the same. The pauses, the way I stand, the footsteps I took. Yeah, it's acting.
Yeah, you
pretend.
You talked about that in your TED talk, and that
Yes,
was like
I did.
yeah, I 100% believe that because that's how I had so many different passions and different things growing up, and just I done design.
All about, it's all about transferable skills, right?
Yeah, and I feel like most people don't think that way. They do this and then they move on to this, and that this is gone now, and they're
yeah. I totally agree. I feel like when people, I have friends where they say, you know what, I'm learning how to play the piano, but because I'm learning how to play the piano, I cannot learn how to play the violin. I have to complete grade 8 before I can move on to the violin. But it doesn't really make sense. It's the same thing. Okay, let's move on from you. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about okay, I am a painter, for an example. And if I'm a painter, I cannot learn how to sing. I need to complete my course as a painter before I move on as a singer. But it's actually the same thing. It's expression, it's your emotions, how you pour your emotions out. People just, I don't know, they segregate things that they want to learn into milestones. And it's like, oh, when I grow up, I want to do this. But you never grow up.
Yeah.
It's a constant thing. You never complete learning your learning journey to learn how to. It's a journey.
It's a constant
finish. Yeah. It's not. I complete my course.
That's why I
move on. It's not that.
I loved your TED talk because it's if you have that mentality, I feel like that's kind of a superpower because I'll give you an even better example, right? So I've never been on Instagram. I never really did social media until COVID happened. And when I started, I was able to really capture people's attention. Not because but if I went in thinking like, oh, I'm new to this, I'm just gonna like learn, blah, 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 blah. But what I did was I combined all of I went to film school, so I learned how to like do screenwriting. So I learned storytelling there. And then I was a designer, so I learned design. And I was a copywriter. And I combined all of those things.
That is why your captions are so good. I'm not kidding. When I first saw your captions, I was like, wow, it hits the spot. And not everyone can do that. I can't do that. My captions are long. And when you finish everything, you forgot the first thing what I wanted to say. And your captions are so good. And that's why you stand out.
Oh,
I'm not
thank you.
kissing your ass. Yeah. This is like for real.
Yeah,
For
and I
real.
think it's
Okay.
combining all of your skills, not like
Mm-hmm.
segregating it, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing that you can combine storytelling with copywriting. And even I use a lot of design, like simple
Mm-hmm.
design, to tell stories,
Mm-hmm.
to support the story. And just
Mm-hmm.
combining it all, I think, is where the power comes. And that's why I personally think the best musicians are like the ones that are singer-songwriters.
Mm-hmm.
They write their own music, they write their own song, and they perform it too,
Yeah.
because there's some magic in that.
Yeah. Because if they're just a singer, they don't know the essence of the song or the essence of or why that song was made that way.
Exactly,
Mm.
like the
And
emotion. Yeah.
yeah, I there is this famous Hong Kong actor. He's a comedian. Oh, Ken Jeong.
Oh
Ken Jeong
yeah.
is yeah. He's also a dentist, right? But we have someone in Hong Kong as well. He's a doctor
Uh-huh.
and he's an actor, and he is so good. I don't know, maybe because he's seen people suffer and he knows how to
Yeah.
put that into his comedy. I'm not sure, but it's his acting, his comedy is so full because of his life experiences
Hmm.
and because of
Yeah.
his the way he knows how to skill transfer. It
Yeah.
Nothing is new under the sun,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Everything is something that you have known before, and you would be able to just move things around and learn new things.
And that's actually, it brings me back to like personal branding. So that's what I love about your Instagram, is that if you were just doing like beauty stuff, like I
Mhm.
probably would not care, right? I'm like this is boring. But
But there
that's,
are people who like it too.
yeah,
I think to
exactly.
each their own. Yeah,
Yeah.
you find your own community, you find your own niche, and then you just focus on it and you just do it well.
But I'm following you and I'm watching your content because of you. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not the thing that
Yeah.
you do is the reason why I'm following you. And I'm sure this is
Hmm.
probably the same for all of your followers. They're following you because
Like
of you, your personality.
personality.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's okay. Thank you.
And that's the
Uh,
brand. Your personality is the brand. So I talk about this a lot with people. Um,
mhm,
I try to find people's superpower, right? Because that's their strength. And I try
mhm,
to tell them to use their strength. And for me, and the way I do this is like, why do people come to you for advice, right? For example, for me, people come to me when they just want to hear the truth. They want to hear it as it is. No fluff, no, no empathy. Like
uh-huh,
not a lot of like, oh, you'll be all right,
uh-huh,
right? Like I just give to them straight, right?
uh-huh.
And
Mhm,
and I do it in a passionate way. Like I truly care about that person, right? I'm telling you this because I care, right?
mhm,
But when they just want to be consoled, like somebody like say break up with them and they're just sad and they just want somebody to say everything's going to be okay, they're not going to come to me because that's not my superpower. But there are
mhm.
other friends that I have that they'll go to because that they're really good at that, caring for them and just saying. For you, I feel
But
like, and I
mhm.
don't know if this is true about you, but when I look at your content, I just feel so happy, right? Like you just, everything is so
Okay.
bright and like, you have this like really positive um energy that you put out. And
Okay. But I'm not like that all the time. Like I do have my happy moments. I do have my sad moments. Um, Speaking of advice,
mm,
I think people go to you advice because do you for advice is because you are brutal, you're honest. People come to me for advice. It's not because I know how to advise. I think it's because they know that I have been through things and I don't know. I don't
or your
know. I don't
experience,
know. Yeah,
you should
because I
ask
tell
them.
them my story, and because they just wanna. It's not. I don't think because I never teach people how to do things. I don't. But I would tell them, okay, I have been through this, and this is my story, and it's up to you to decide what you want to do.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think that is why.
I think that's the best way
Um,
to give advice, though, because when you tell them to do something,
really,
nobody.
I hope people tell me what to do though, so I don't have to do something wrong. Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, that's so different from me. I'm the opposite, and a lot of people I know, they don't like being told what to do.
Okay,
So,
maybe because you're a man, I'm a girl, I'm a woman. It's different.
no, a
Maybe.
lot of women are like that too.
Okay. Okay.
But you should ask your friends, like, hey, like when you, for example, if they're going through struggle, if they're feeling sad or they're feeling happy or whatever,
Mhm.
you know, why do you come to me for advice? Like, what is it like me versus somebody else that's close to you also?
Mhm. I did ask them before.
Mhm.
I think it's because they say they trust that I won't, because I'm not the kind of person that would tell them it's wrong or it's right.
Mhm.
I would say, this is what I did. It happened to me.
Mhm.
Uh, and this is what I think,
Yeah.
this is what I did back then. And it's up to you to learn from my experience. Maybe because I did a lot of things. I learned, I had my bad moments. I lost confidence. I I had my good moments too. I think it's because of my. It's not that I'm
Wisdom.
old and I have a lot of life experience, but I've experienced quite a number of things.
Yeah.
And girls my age, if they come to me and they ask me questions like that, it's usually because yeah, maybe I experienced it, and they feel like, oh, based on
Yeah.
your experience, what do you think you would do? Yeah, and I
And
don't
wisdom
think
doesn't
it's.
necessarily come from age, I think. I mean, sometimes it does. We talked about it. It
Mhm.
also, because like
I don't,
I'm
but I
sure
don't
like
think I'm the wisest person ever.
a,
I definitely not.
well, wisdom does come from life experience. So for example, if I talk to like a 20-year-old in North Korea, like
Mhm.
that person will have a lot more life wisdom than
Of course,
like a 30-year-old in
someone.
South Korea who hasn't gone through as much shit.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I understand.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think for you especially, maybe it's because you're like younger that
Mhm.
they can, because if I go to like a 50-year-old person and try to talk about it, they're going to be like, oh, you're just young. And like, they're not going to understand you from your point of view, right? But
Mhm.
because you're also younger, maybe they feel like, oh, she's wise, but she's my
More
age.
relatable.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's that.
And yeah. And you're gonna do it in a non-judgmental way, right? Because I've
Yeah.
been through it, so I understand why you're doing
Yeah.
that or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe it's that.
And I think that is a
But
personal brand. Like your personality is your personal brand. And I love how you put it in the beginning that you don't have to define it. Like just being yourself
mhm.
already. And that's what I tell everybody. Like, don't try to
Mhm.
like craft this brand and say, oh, I stand for this and blah, 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 blah,
Oh
and lock
yeah.
yourself
And
in.
consumers nowadays, they're not stupid. They know things because they've seen so much. They know. So if you try to be someone that you're not, people can tell that it's fake, and it's very painful to watch. Like if people want to spend time on your social media, they want to
Yeah.
spend time on your page. Just try to give them something truthful.
Yeah.
Maybe, like I said, not everything, but at least a real piece of yourself in there, and that is a lot more watchable, a lot more digestible than you just being. There's just too much fake stuff around the world now, I guess.
And
Of course. Hmm.
I think people's like bullshit meter is so high now. Like they can
Yeah,
tell.
yeah, yeah. Okay, you call it the bullshit meter. Okay, yeah. Honestly, yeah, true. That people are not stupid. They can tell. It's this sixth sense thing.
Mm.
And if I, if I every single day I just get out of bed and I was like, oh, I'm so pretty. I have my full on makeup. I mean, there are still people attracted to those kind of things just because they want to see people like I don't dislike them. I don't dislike the Kardashians, but I can be quite sick some days, or the models, just watching them, it makes me feel so bad about myself. I feel like I am nothing because
It's a big problem, I think, in social media.
yeah, it is for me at least.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I mean, I think it's
I
for
have to?
you saw Social Dilemma, right? Like
Yes, I
they
did.
kind of go into that. And yeah, I think it's a big problem for younger people, especially. I think for me and you, we probably grew up without social media. And then we were kind of already kind of mature when we got into it. So it's still manageable. Yes, we still compare ourselves to others.
Do you not, do you honestly, do you not feel it like, do you not feel like, oh, you spend so much time curating your contents? Because I know you spend a lot of time on your content. I do my stuff, like even a bloody TikTok video took me, 2-3 hours just for, no, wait, 4. That was an outfit changing thing. It took me freaking 4 hours. I hated it. But I had to do it because client wanted it. But I know how much time I would spend on the content. And the fact that you have to curate your captions and how it looks like, the swiping thing. And I know how much time it takes you. And won't you be upset or compare yourself with other Instagrammers where they just, I'm going to show my chest and they get 1 million, 2 million likes? Would you compare?
Or I don't compare with them because I know why I can kind of guess why they're popular, right?
How about those that that their contents are just not
as good? Yeah,
just not as good, or they just
all
copy
the time.
or
But that's the thing, like I think once you get into the comparison, and every day that happens to me, every single day. But it's like muscle memory.
Oh my god, it happens to me too. Every single day. It does. I do feel shit all the time. It does. Like I said, I'm not always positive. You see that because, I don't know, because that's what I want to show you. That's real too. I'm like that. I laugh and I smile, but it doesn't mean that I don't have my insecurities. I do.
But that one day when you were doing the Instagram stories where you were talking about like the cat and like how like all these like messages, DMs you got about your cat, like why are you doing this? Why don't you keep
I'm not kidding. So what happened was that there was a cat. There was a stray cat in my house. It came to my house because sometimes I would leave food out for stray cats outdoors. Because my area, there are lots of stray cats. I think because it's a Malay area. A lot of people just breed cats and then they just let them out. So I do have a couple of plates placed outside my house, and the cats would often come in. But there's one particular cat. That cat wouldn't go out, wouldn't leave. It would come straight into the house. And I have a stray cat at home that I keep, and that cat, both of them fight, and it's bad fights. So they will have scratches. And I was asking anyone on social media to, give this cat a home, because the cat was on the floor. People said that, oh, why do you push the cat on the floor? You are ill treating the cat. You are so mean to the cat. Why don't you just keep it? And you should just neuter the cat. I'm like, it's not my cat. Everything. You shouldn't put the cat outdoors. You shouldn't talk to the cat like so. You should touch the cat like that. Why? It's so much negativity. Everything that I did was wrong. And I get that all the time.
And you expressed it on your, like you, and I love that you did because, because not everything you put out is all like, happy rainbows and unicorns. Like I do see that side of you too, which is what makes me more relate to you, right? I'm like, oh yeah, she's human too. She gets annoyed just like everyone else. She gets frustrated. Like those character flaws is what makes the main characters of a movie great. That's what makes like people connect to that character. And I think it's the same in social media.
Yeah, I would agree to that, but I didn't think about that when I posted that. I was just like, I'm just angry, so I
you were just being yourself.
Yeah. One thing about social media is that because when you talk to your phone, you don't know thousands of people are staring at you, you would just be like, it's just me and my phone. So there is a closeness to it. You feel like it's your friend that you're talking to. So it doesn't feel so intimidating. But now someone like you tells me that, oh, I feel like you're human. I'm a bit like, okay, I'm just gonna.
You're not gonna
But
post it
honestly,
anymore.
after I did that, after I talked about it, I still receive a lot of messages telling me I shouldn't complain. Like, what am I? Why do I complain about everything? No matter what you do,
Yeah.
people will complain.
Yeah.
People will judge. People will talk about it. So I guess sometimes you shouldn't care that much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I value, there are certain opinions that I value, and there are certain opinions that I don't value, right? So I think
you need
a lot
to
of
be
people,
a good compass yourself.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think social media has helped you in your career? Like,
101%. True story. Nowadays, when we act, so we have a form to fill up what movies you've done. You have to upload your filmography. You have to upload your video, send them your video. And below everything, it's social media engagement. How many followers you have on Instagram, how many followers you have on Facebook, how many followers you have on YouTube. It's numbers. Why? Because it's a business. Acting is a business. Showbiz is a business. They need to submit it to the investors, and the investors will look at the numbers and they will know how much money they throw in and how much they would get back. For example, if I have 33 followers will watch it. So it's business. And they will know how much to pay me based on that.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of what a lot of people don't understand is that it's the same for speakers, right? Like if a conference has like a speaker on their stage, like they are gonna base it on like how many followers they have on social media, because this is the audience that they're gonna attract, right? And I think that's where I see actors and actresses going in the future, musicians, all of them, is that in the old days, the movie studio or the TV, they advertise and they bring in the audience. But I feel like now every cast member there are the ones that are I'm going to watch this show because of Koe Yeet. I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, of course. I'm not sure if you know about this phenomena in China. In China, films, episodes are edited very quickly. So we will act, because I did a couple of series in China. And I roughly know how they work. So we will act. And I think it's like that in Korea too, if I'm not mistaken. They will act and then they will not. So scripts will be written, but it's not fully. They can change it based on the people's comments online. So people will watch online, they will comment, and
that's why they're so popular.
Viewers, exactly. If the viewers hate this guy, the next episode, that guy's gonna die because the viewers. Not kidding, really. And it's a thing in China, and the viewers would determine because the fan base are so huge, and who do you care if you are an investor, if you're the producer? Do you care about the viewers or do you care about the story? Of course, I care about the viewers. And nowadays, there are so much TV dramas online that the viewers only watch whoever they want to watch. So, for an example, if I like actor A, I'm just going to watch actor A's scenes. I'm just going to watch it quickly. Forward everything, and then when it's the actor's scene, I would just pause and watch his scene. This is why Chinese dramas, when they have a TV drama, their story is not really full. It's a couple of stories and they join into one. Usually, olden days dramas, everything is together and there is one lead. Nowadays, there's about 4 leads, and 4 leads have 4 different love stories, and each and every one is just. They don't really intertwine with each other. It's not like Modern Family. It's different stories. And then only towards the end they come together because of the audience. And the audience
I don't really
have
watch.
a say.
The audience is the ones that are scripting show, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, because there are too many of them. The
I
market
think
is
there's a
so
good
big.
balance,
Everyone.
though, because I think if you give the audience whatever they want, it kind of ruins the art, right? But then if you just
Then that
yeah.
that is when movie comes in. This is only TV dramas.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm.
So yeah, so where do you go from here? Like, what are your kind of dreams and aspirations? What are you most excited about right now, first of all?
I'm
I know
excited
there's
for the year
not.
to end. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm excited for the year to end. This year, because of COVID-19, to be very honest with you, I lost 6 jobs, 6 productions. So TV, movies, 6 of them, all gone. I only did 2 productions this year. Uh, so it's actually quite bad in Malaysia. A couple of our main magazine companies, a couple of them, like we have our own Her World, we have our own female magazine, everything closed down. We are only left with a couple of big magazines. And showbiz is not doing well. So what's going to happen? I don't know, actually. I am going to learn a new language next year. I am going to continue doing what I do. Oh, I'm gonna venture into YouTube. I'm starting on it because I am kind of tired of Instagram, because Instagram feels like, I feel like people don't really know me on Instagram. I think people only see 1/10 of me on Instagram, but on YouTube, you can't lie.
Yeah.
People have to sit there and watch you for like 10 to 12 minutes. It's you there. And if you can come up with good content, I feel like it's a lot more it's a lot more satisfactory, I think. It makes me feel a lot better about the things that I put out. So I'm going to YouTube.
Is that like what you're excited about right now, doing YouTube?
Not really. Not really excited. No. I'm actually kind of chilled this year. Maybe because, okay, one thing about me is that when I do things, I don't try to find a goal where, you know what, I have to hit this goal by the end of the year. Some people do that motivates them. I don't do that, because if I expect too much out of something, I get a lot of disappointment and I stop doing it. It's that sore loser me coming out. So I would just do it. I won't stop. I will keep doing it, but I won't expect too much from it. So if I look forward to YouTube a lot and I'm so excited doing it, when I upload the video, I expect a certain number of views. So I don't do that. I only focus on like whatever I want to put out there. As long as I know that it's things that I'm happy about, I can put out there, and I just not expect too much out of it.
Yeah, maybe that's why you resonated with my content, because I'm like that too. When I set too specific of a goal, or like think about the outcome, it makes me lose it makes me lose like being present. But when I don't think about that, I can be present. I can focus on the thing that's in front of me. And
yeah, I think it's the same with people. My mom used to tell me, because I was bullied in school, people boycott me, they didn't like to talk to me. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, Mom, I was so nice to them. Why are they treating me like this? She's like, people don't owe you a duty to be good to you. Besides your family members and your loved ones, no one owe you a duty to be good to you. You be good to them because you are a good person and you should be. But then don't expect something in return. And it's the same if you want to do anything in life. Do that because you want to do it and you feel like, okay, this is something I would like doing. Persevere, but don't expect yourself to be Steve Jobs one day, because you will not be. It's your own pace. It's your own journey.
I love that. I love. Yeah, I think that's like a great advice to end on.
Oh,
Um,
okay. it's it's okay. Okay, that's something my mom said. Yeah.
well, is there any advice that you would, not advice, but anything that you've
Mm.
learned that you want to say to the audience?
I think back to the whole topic about personal branding you said today. Um, don't try to define yourself too early on. Don't try to want to be someone. If you like learning, if you like trying out new things, just go ahead, try it, do it. Uh, don't just do, I said this in my TEDx talk. I feel like we are all like a tree, you know? A tree would only be beautiful if you have a thick trunk and you have lots of branches that branch out from the trunk. And then it makes you a beautiful tree, right? But if you're just a tree, so try to imagine the trunk as your main profession. If you are like you are a designer, so you do your own design properly, you do your own studies very well, you complete your studies, and that makes you a designer. But that doesn't mean you cannot be a painter, you cannot be a singer, and those are your branches. And if you only focus on one thing and you do one thing only, if I only am an actress and that is my main trunk, I'm just an actress and that's it. And my tree would just be a trunk and nothing else. But if I am an actress and I'm a singer and I do this and that, I have a lot of branches that branch out from that tree. And that makes me a very beautiful tree. And life should be like that. And to each their own. Every tree is different. You can have 2 branches, you can have 5, you can have 6. But make sure when you do everything, try to do your best and try to persevere to the end and not just do everything and then stop after the second day. That's not what this whole thing is about. Yeah.
I think
Don't
you also
define yourself based on one thing.
You also said you can't just be the leaves without the trunk.
Oh, I also said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just, I want to be everything. I want to be a singer today. I want to be a carpenter tomorrow, an engineer the day after. You just be the trunks and the leaves. That will make you a bush, not a tree. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that analogy.
I came up with that randomly at night, I think, because I was trying to describe it based on something that people can see and feel instead of just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think you might not know it yet, but I do think probably some good came out of this year. You went back on YouTube, which I think is...
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess so. I spent so much time with my parents. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like a kid again. Because I used to work and travel a lot, I never used to get to spend much time with my parents. And I spent so much time with them right now. I feel like I talk like them and I walk like them. It's so, but which is great. They're getting a lot older. And I don't think I'll ever, if it's not the COVID, I don't think I'll be able to spend as much time with them. So I guess 10 years down the road, I would say, I'll tell my kids one day and say, you know what? It was a year. I spent the entire year with my family and it was so good. Yeah. It's a story to tell one day. This year, I would say like everyone took a break. It's a detoxing system for everyone. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see.
It may not be the best year, but it's okay.
Well, you never know, right? The story isn't written yet. I'm excited to see where you go from here in 2021.
Thank you. And I'm excited to see you grow too. You are growing so quickly. How many followers do you have on Instagram right now? What, 35,000? When I first knew about you, you had 11.
That's true.
And I was like, whoa, this guy, more people has to know about.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, for people to kind of follow you on this journey, where can they find you?
Uh,
What
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can follow me on Koe Yeet. It's at KoeYeet.
and I'll put all the links in the show notes. I'll put your TED Talk there too, so people can watch it.
Okay,
And
yeah, sure. Thank you so much
thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Thank you for
I
being
love this
here.
conversation. This doesn't feel like this is like a friendly chat rather than like a podcast. And I was so nervous about this.
No, I told you there's nothing to be nervous about. Yeah, and
Yeah,
hopefully we can do it again. Kind of,
of course,
we can give everybody an update.
anytime. Let's talk about relationships next time.
Oh yeah. Maybe on a different podcast. I should do it.
You should do one just
Yeah.
for family and relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start one.
You should.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. See you around. Stay safe.
Bye, Koe Yeet.
Bye.